I'm sorry, who? Who and why? Of all the characters in the expansive Marvel lore, Beth the waitress? Okay. I'm sorry, she's actually MCU canon. She was that waitress that served Steve Rogers, who also happened to save her life during the Chitauri invasion. My mistake, I take back everything I said. She is super important. Beth the waitress was actually a quest giver in this game, in which you had to retrieve customers that had run away. The reward was the pleasure of being able to unlock Beth the waitress. Yippee. Beth the waitress has one ability, that ability being agility, so she can jump on poles and stuff. Not very much a surprise by any means. Also, she can throw coffee mugs as projectiles. This is one of those cases where the roster really just confuses me. Like, there are some big characters in the DLC that I'm shocked aren't in the base game, unless they planned from the start that some big names would be omitted from the base game specifically for DLC later on. Pretty shady, to be honest, and definitely an insult since Beth the waitress actually made the cut. Jiaying here is another DLC character, this time hailing from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. DLC pack. For those who haven't watched the show up to Season 2, and I don't blame you if you didn't, but I'm going to spoil. So if you care, click off, watch the first 2 seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. if you can muster it, and then come back. Jiaying is Daisy's mother, and she is an inhuman. She has the power of life absorption in the show, which could be cool if translated into the game. However, her life-sucking power does not really translate well to any of the abilities already in the game, so she basically does nothing. If you hold down the action button, she does that like welcoming animation, kind of like gesturing towards herself, but it explodes things. I'm not sure if that counts as an ability. I'm not counting it, but it exists. However, if her power in the show is to heal people, maybe destroying an item in her general direction shouldn't be the intended effect of that animation. The only true ability she has is agility, the same ability makeup as Beth the waitress, and quite a few more coming up. I have a weirdly specific connection with Batroc, pretty similar to the way I am with Absorbing Man. Batroc is one of the characters I read about often as a child with my Marvel character encyclopedia. So when I saw him show up in Captain America the Winter Soldier, it was pretty surreal to me, considering how niche he is. Like, in the comics, his main power is that he just jumps a lot. Actually in the comics, his name is literally Batroc the Leaper, because leaping was his thing. I guess it was a weird time for Marvel. Anyway, this guy made a return in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where he, spoilers, gets shot and killed. It feels weird to see him die, since he was one of the niche characters out of Marvel that I actually knew, and I guess he had a total of 3 lines in the entirety of the MCU, so I don't care that much. And then he makes a slight appearance in What if you want to count that. Batroc, being a leaper and all, has no weapons, and he can just be agile, so agility is the only thing he can really do besides punch. Next up on the agility-only characters, we have a Night Nurse. Now, Night Nurse may have already made an appearance in the MCU, depending on your definition of what counts. Night Nurse is the alias of one Claire Temple, who you may recognize from the Netflix Marvel shows played by Rosario Dawson. Now, I'm a huge fan of the Daredevil show, but not so much of the rest of the Netflix shows, aside from select moments in The Punisher and Jessica Jones. The Netflix Marvel shows were initially treated as MCU canon, with a few references here and there. However, the longer they went on, the more disconnected they felt from the MCU, which is probably for the best. Anyhow, Night Nurse, or Claire, showed up in every single Netflix Marvel show, aside from The Punisher, I think, which is neat. But that's all, though. It's just neat. She felt kind of shoehorned in every show aside from Daredevil, just for the sake of interconnectivity. Anyway, I spent this entire segment talking about the Marvel and Netflix shows because, just like the last 3 characters, Night Nurse only has agility. She does have a briefcase, though. Not sure if that changes anything. Finesse? Nice name, but I don't have a diddly darn clue who this is. You know, I might have to start consulting the wiki again. Last time I did that for the Lego Ninjago movie game, I resented it because the Ninjago lore is just too deep and for a normie like me. But for this, I don't mind looking at the wiki because I like Marvel and there's a vast array of characters. Alright, looking at the wiki. Finesse also went by the name Assassin Girl. Okay, right off the bat, I'm glad they named her Finesse instead of that. She also made her first appearance in 2010, meaning that her character was only 6 years old by the time this game came out. That's actually pretty interesting. In the comics, her abilities to mimic anything reminds me of a certain character, which I can't disclose at this time because he's also in the game. All I can say is that character in question is Finesse's alleged father, which is more than fitting. Despite Finesse's apparent ability to mimic anything she sees, it is not reflected in this game. Instead, she only has the agility ability because, of course, she does. Echo and Finesse actually have a very similar skill set in which they both have photographic reflexes or really good mimicking skills, however you want to say it. Just like Finesse, all Echo can do is be agile. Anyway, this seems like a ripe time to mosey my way onto the wiki, as if I haven't already. Echo carries around a sword, which is reflected in this game, and also why I ranked her above the other agility-only characters so far. Apparently, Echo hosted the Phoenix Force at one point, which is the topic of two terrible X-Men movies. Speaking of the X-Men, where are they in this game, you may ask? All the X-Men and Fantastic Four characters got axed in this game because at the time, Fox wasn't owned by Disney, so they couldn't really use the characters in the game based off the MCU. It's a pretty crappy situation, I must admit. As far as the MCU goes, rumor has it that an Echo show is in development that would reintroduce Charlie Cox's Daredevil into official canon, but, I mean, let's just see how poorly that rumor ages, shall we? Finally, it's been a few segments since the last character that was actually in an MCU movie. This is Fandral, one of Thor's insignificant friends. Fandral was played by Josh Dallas in the first Thor, so who cares? But Zachary Levi actually played him in the Thor sequels. That's right, Shazam himself played one of Thor's lackeys. Fun fact, Zachary Levi was casted for Fandral in Thor 1 but had to bail, which is why Josh Dallas was cast. However, Dallas had to bail for the sequel, so Zachary Levi stepped in. It's all for naught, though, because Fandral died a pathetic death in Thor Ragnarok. Hela just stepped through the Bifrost portal and destroyed him immediately, which is depressing. I get that Hela is OP, but did they really need to do Fandral like that? Ridiculous. Fandral has a nice looking sword, but only agility for his ability makeup. So I guess he was done dirty in this game too. Again, who the hell is Madame B? At first I thought she was just another random Marvel character that I would have had to consult the wiki about, but no, she was a minor character in Age of Ultron, in a flashback no less. Well, not flashback, it was in one of those Scarlet Witch mind control thingies, whatever you want to call that. Madame B apparently was the lady that conditioned Black Widow in the Red Room. I'm not sure where she was during the events of the Black Widow movie, since I think she'd play a role. Actually, she did look pretty old in Age of Ultron. She might have died of old age by the time of the Black Widow movie. Or she died of unnatural causes, I don't know. Her line of work is pretty dangerous. In any case, she's pretty spry for an old woman since she has agility as her only ability in this game. She also has a gun, which is always a plus in these games. Okay, this is the final character with agility as a character's only ability. I'm just now realizing that the last 8 segments have been characters with the same one ability, but that won't be the case the deeper we get into the list. The deeper we go, the more unique the characters are, so just keep your panties in a knot in a twist, and just wait, please. For now, though, we have Tick. Tick first appeared in 2013, only 3 years before this game came out. Did TT Games just try to find the most recent Marvel character before the production of this game? I don't know, but Tick hasn't really done much at all. She showed up in a slew of Captain Marvel comics and then never again. There's an achievement for this game that you get for setting both characters as Tick and Hawkeye. Despite my best efforts, I cannot seem to find the connection between Tick and Hawkeye. As far as I know, they've never interacted anywhere, ever. So why is there an achievement for it? If anyone cares enough to enlighten me, please do, because I'm really curious. Finally, we're moving on from the characters whose only ability is agility. Here we have Agent Williams. He's the most standard shield grunt you've ever seen, but they had to give him a name because he was a playable character in a story level. Honestly, they should have named him Shield Friend, similar to Rebel Friend, the red-shirted good boy we all know and love. He has a gun, so that's very nice to have in any scenario. The one ability Agent Williams has is not agility, but the shield ability. Basically, there are these shield terminals riddled all over the story levels and open areas. Those who are shield certified can use these terminals to reap the benefits of whatever comes from it. Agent Williams is unlocked in the story mode of the first level of the Avengers campaign. He's also a quest giver on the helicarrier, but other than that, there isn't really anything more to say about boring old Agent Williams.